Have you ever noticed how power cuts seem to have this incredibly specific, almost supernatural talent for happening at the absolute worst possible second? I mean, they never strike when you're just sitting around bored, do they? No, they wait patiently in the shadows for the exact instant you're in the middle of a crucial video call, right at the climax of your favorite show, or maybe just as you're typing out the perfect, devastating comeback text. And then, with absolutely impeccable comedic timing, everything just goes dark. It's this universally frustrating, deeply relatable shared experience of sudden, forced disconnection that just instantly spikes our collective blood pressure. So, enter our guy, Sanjay. Now, Sanjay is already having a terrible, no-good kind of week. We're talking quiet, anxiety-inducing rumors of layoffs going around the office. He's dealing with a boss who seems to communicate exclusively through those passive-aggressive messages that always start with, "just a quick question." And now, on top of all that simmering, invisible stress, the power is gone. For the third time this week. So what does Sanjay do? Well, he does what any reasonable, slightly unhinged human does in this exact situation. He stands right there in his pitch-black living room, gesturing wildly at the walls, having a full, dramatic, one-man shouting match with an electricity board that cannot hear him and frankly wouldn't care even if it could. But the universe isn't quite done with Sanjay just yet, which brings us to a very fateful 15-minute delay. Fast forward about 10 minutes. Sanjay has ordered food because, let's face it, emotional cooking requires actual electricity and a whole lot of patience. Two things he currently does not possess. Finally, the delivery guy rings the bell. But there's a catch, right? The dinner is exactly 15 minutes late. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it's a minor hiccup. But in Sanjay's current state of mind, it's the spark that literally lights the powder keg. Still absolutely simmering from the power cut, he swings his front door open and unloads all of it onto this poor, unsuspecting delivery rider. He points, he shouts, "15 minutes late. Do you know how long I've been waiting?" It is loud, it's sharp, and it is completely, utterly disproportionate to a 15-minute delay and a bag of lukewarm biryani. Without even realizing it, he's projecting an entire week of corporate anxiety and rolling blackouts directly onto the person simply holding his dinner. But watch what happens next. The delivery rider doesn't match his frustrated energy. He just remains perfectly calm. He nods, quietly apologizes without arguing back, hands over the food, and simply turns around. No explanation is offered, no excuses, just gone. He slowly walks away into the night on his bike, disappearing back into the quiet hum of the city, leaving Sanjay standing in his doorway with a bag of food and the lingering, uncomfortable echo of his own raised voice. Let's take a breath here and shift our perspective for a moment to look at an unseen burden. Because there's a profound, quiet part of this story that Sanjay didn't know that night, simply because he never asked. We only ever see the surface of the people we interact with in these brief, transactional moments. But beneath that surface, there is almost always an entirely different, heavily nuanced narrative playing out. Behind that quiet apology, that delivery rider had been on his bike for 11 straight hours that day. He had intentionally skipped his own lunch just to make sure he could cover rent for the month. And heaviest of all, just an hour before arriving at Sanjay's door, he received a devastating phone call, letting him know that his father was back in the hospital. He was carrying an absolute mountain of physical exhaustion and emotional worry on his shoulders. But he didn't share a single ounce of that burden with Sanjay. He didn't use his hospital call as a shield to defend himself against the yelling. He simply absorbed a stranger's entirely misplaced shouting, said a quiet sorry, and rode off. On to the next order, the next unknown customer, the next possible shouting match that he has absolutely no control over. He just swallowed his own exhaustion and kept moving forward in the dark. Now let's jump forward a week to examine the lingering cost of guilt. Sanjay's life has moved on. The power is back on, the lukewarm biryani is long gone. He's having a casual conversation with a mutual friend. Just everyday small talk. Out of nowhere, totally randomly, this friend mentions the delivery app driver who works near their building. Tough guy, the friend casually remarks. His dad's been in and out of the hospital. Imagine the absolute sudden drop in Sanjay's stomach right at that moment. It's a quiet, crushing realization. His expression shifts as he pieces it together in the stillness of the room. That guy, the one he completely unloaded on over a 15-minute delay. A wave of deep, stinging regret washes over him as he finally connects this tragic news back to his own completely misplaced, frankly embarrassing anger at the front door. And here is the truly uncomfortable truth of the whole matter. You just can't unshout.
Sanjay cannot go back in time and hand back those 15 minutes of noise to a man who was quietly carrying something far, far heavier than a delivery bag that night. All he's left with now is the bitter knowledge that he added unnecessary weight to someone who was already desperately struggling to carry his own. The psychology behind why we do this is actually fascinating. Losing your temper over small stuff feels incredibly justified in the moment. It feels like you are finally opening a release valve on the pressure that's been building up inside you all day long. But the person on the receiving end, the driver, the waiter, the coworker, they rarely, if ever, deserve to be the release valve for your entirely unrelated bad day. It really begs the question, what are they carrying? Think about the people you interact with daily. The remarkably slow cashier at the grocery store, the family member who snapped back at you a little too fast this morning. Everyone, absolutely everyone, is fighting some invisible battle. Maybe it's a hospital call, maybe it's a terrifying rent deadline, a bad diagnosis, or just a fear they haven't dared to say out loud yet. We simply don't know. The uncomfortable truth is that staying calm costs us almost nothing compared to what losing it eventually does. Losing your temper has a steep, lingering price, and that price is guilt. Guilt is heavy. It has a way of sticking around, sinking into your bones, and lasting a lot longer than the frustration of a 15-minute delay ever could. You basically spend the rest of the week carrying the shame of a 5-second outburst. So how do we move forward? It really comes down to choosing real peace. The next time something small tries to hijack your mood, a delay, a minor inconvenience, a bad internet connection right when you need it most, you have a choice. The message underneath all this chaotic, power cut-induced frustration is about finding the space between what happens to you and how you respond to it. Just pause for a single second before the shouting starts. You hold back, not necessarily because the other person is always right or because the situation isn't genuinely annoying. You hold back just because you don't actually know what is truly going on behind someone else's tired eyes, and neither do they know what you're carrying. By staying calm today, you save yourself from lying awake tonight, wondering about the unseen damage you might have caused. I want to leave you with this final grounding thought. Peace, real peace, isn't the absence of bad days. It's simply choosing not to hand your bad day to someone who's already having one of their own. It's about breaking the chain of frustration with a moment of gentle, intentional patience. When we choose empathy over anger, we don't just protect others, we protect our own peace of mind. So next time the lights go out, just take a breath.